America's economy isn't broken, it's been sabotaged. But here's the good news. The blueprint to rebuild it already exists, and it worked once before. America's economy isn't crumbling because of bad luck. It's crumbling because of bad leadership. COVID-19 dealt a blow at the end of Trump's first term. But it was the administration that followed that truly sent the economy into a tailspin. We're now staring down a national debt of over $34.7 trillion. Every reckless dollar added to the deficit weakens the stock market, drains the real economy, and, well, eats away at America's financial strength. The truth is simple. You can't spend your way out of a spending problem. And without serious reform, this cycle of debt and decline would have kept spiraling, leaving American families and investors footing the bill. But here's the good news. We already have a blueprint that worked. President Trump's economic policies, cutting taxes, slashing regulations, and driving historic stock market growth, proved that America's economy can roar back stronger than ever when the government gets out of the way. And in 2025, smart investors are watching closely, because now that those pro-growth policies are back in motion, they could reshape everything: the economy, the national debt, and your financial future. When President Trump came into office, he didn't just talk about fixing the economy, he actually did it. One of the first major moves was cutting corporate taxes from 35% to 21%. That wasn't just a win for big companies, it was a win for American workers, retirees, and investors. Because when businesses keep more of their earnings, they expand, hire, and push the stock market higher. At the same time, Trump unleashed a massive wave of deregulation. For every new regulation, his administration eliminated 8. This wasn't just paperwork. It was a full-scale attack on the red tape that had been choking small businesses and American innovation for decades. The economy responded almost immediately. We saw record-low unemployment rates, especially for minority groups. Middle-class families kept more of their own money thanks to targeted tax cuts. The stock market hit all-time highs, driving up 401k accounts and retirement funds across the country. Even better, despite cutting taxes, federal revenue actually increased. More jobs, more growth, more revenue flowing into the system without having to raise income taxes. This is why today serious investors are paying attention to Trump's economic track record. It's not theory, it's history. And now, it's our future. If you're serious about protecting and growing your wealth in this new economy, now is the time to get informed. Hit that subscribe button and stay ahead of the curve. We're breaking down not just today's moves, but where America's economy and critical resources are headed next. You don't want to miss it. The results weren't just political talking points, they were hard economic facts. Under President Trump's policies, America's economy grew at a steady, healthy pace. GDP growth reached around 3% during strongest years, a major improvement over the sluggish years before. Meanwhile, the unemployment rate dropped to the lowest levels in 50 years, with historic gains for Black, Hispanic, and Asian American workers. The stock market broke record after record. The Dow Jones crossed 25,000, 26,000, and then 27,000 points in rapid succession. The S&P 500 and Nasdaq surged alongside it, driving up millions of American retirement accounts and investment portfolios. Despite all the noise from the media, corporate tax revenues rose after the cuts. When businesses grew, they paid more, not less, into the system. And federal income tax collections also climbed, thanks to millions more Americans entering the workforce. Meanwhile, deregulation sparked a manufacturing renaissance. For the first time in decades, factories started reopening in the United States instead of moving overseas. That stability wasn't just good for jobs, it was a major stabilizer for the stock market and for America's long-term economic health. Real wages were rising, energy prices were stable, consumer confidence hit 18-year highs, all of it driven by common-sense policies that prioritized growth over government expansion, and by leadership that understood you can't tax and spend your way into prosperity. The blueprint worked once, and now it's being reactivated. This isn't just history anymore, it's happening again. Now that President Trump is back in office, the blueprint is already being reactivated. Massive spending cuts are on the table, corporate tax incentives are being restored, regulatory rollbacks are back in motion, and, smart money is already positioning itself for the next wave of growth. The economy is responding, just like it did before. Markets are stabilizing, investors are regaining confidence, energy production is ramping up again, cutting inflationary pressure at the source. But there's something even bigger at stake this time. America's economy isn't just rebuilding for short-term gains. We're laying the groundwork for real, lasting financial independence, from foreign governments, from reckless debt cycles, and from the failed policies that almost sank us. And for investors who understand what's happening early, there's a generational opportunity unfolding. This is the moment to be paying attention. Because the moves you make now, in the early days of the Trump economy's second rise, could define your financial future. If we want to understand where America's economy is headed under President Trump, we have to start with the reality we're facing right now. The national debt isn't just big, it's staggering. As of April 2025, the United States owes over $34.7 trillion. And this year alone, the Treasury Department expects to borrow more than $1.5 trillion just to keep the government running. That's not sustainable. Every dollar added to the deficit weakens the dollar, fuels inflation, and threatens long-term growth. President Trump's economic blueprint isn't about patching holes. It's about turning the ship around completely. It starts with cutting government spending, rolling back bloated budgets, and demanding real accountability. It continues by putting strategic tariffs back in place, targeted tariffs that generate revenue without hiking taxes on working Americans. The goal isn't isolationism, it's fairness. For decades, other countries have flooded the United States market with cheap goods while blocking American products with tariffs and regulations of their own. Trump's policies are leveling the playing field, making sure trade works for America again, not against it. And here's the critical point: America has leverage. We are the largest consumer economy on the planet. Global businesses and governments need access to the American market far more than we need access to theirs. That economic weight gives us power we're finally starting to use. On top of that, President Trump's new tax proposals are aimed squarely at strengthening the American middle class. Under current plans, households making under $150,000 a year will see continued tax relief, putting more money back into the hands of real Americans, not bureaucrats. More disposable income means more consumer spending, stronger businesses, and a stock market fueled by real organic growth, not endless debt. So another key reform? The proposed Gold Card program, offering a pathway for wealthy foreign investors to gain U.S. residency in exchange for a $5 million investment into our economy. Unlike old visa programs that were riddled with loopholes, this one is designed to attract serious economic contributors, creating jobs, boosting spending, and strengthening America's financial engine without adding to government debt. His proposed welfare reform would mean less government dependency, less spending, and less borrowing, bringing a more stable national balance sheet over time. Between targeted tariffs, lower taxes, spending cuts, and real regulatory reform, President Trump's strategy isn't just to kickstart a recovery, it's to rebuild a financial foundation strong enough to carry America and American investors into the next generation. The truth is simple: America doesn't need to reinvent itself. We just need to get back to the blueprint that built the strongest economy the world has ever seen. Lower taxes, smarter trade, less government waste, and, more economic freedom. For investors who understand what's happening early, this isn't just a recovery, it's a once-in-a-generation opportunity. If you're serious about protecting and growing your money, like this video and hit that subscribe button now. Because in our next video, we're diving into one of the most critical pieces of America's economic future: rare minerals, supply chains, and the next battleground for real wealth. You really don't want to miss it.